Hi, I'm Jim, N4BFR. It's Tuesday, August 11th. Here's your COVID-19 update for Georgia. I masked up today. I voted today. Got my little spaceman mask on, which is cool. And I got my little voting sticker. So you still, as of this taping, about 4:30, you still have time. You still have time to go vote. So don't forget to do that as well and state your preference for your candidate. Okay, lots to talk about today. First of which, very sorry. My apologies. Mea culpa. All my fault. I installed an update right before I did the video yesterday. I did not look down to see my audio wasn't going. Threw it up and just went on about my business. Didn't notice until late last night. Yesterday's video did not have audio, so my sincere apologies for that, and I will look to have better quality control in the future. So thanks for your patience on that. Moving along to the daily numbers now. It's all about deaths today. We had a 1 day total of 122 death reports today. That is up 30 from our highest day ever. So we didn't just nudge past the last number, we went 25% more than the last number. So lots of deaths today. In addition, while the net increase in total deaths for COVID-19 for Georgia was 122, the Department of Public Health reported they had 137 death reports, which means there's a difference of 15 there. The 15 were then either duplicates from an earlier report or reclassifications as a non-COVID death. We don't have visibility into which one of those it was, but that is what the current reporting is showing us from the state. Let's get into testing. Testing was just below Tuesday from a perspective of testing cases and positive results was really a right on the average day, right down the line. Tests were just a few higher than the 7-day average for tests. Cases were just a few higher than the 7-day average for cases. Both were up week over week. And then the positive rate was at 10.6. That's great. We want to see that come down below 10 and get us into the yellow range versus being in the red range. I'll go into that more tomorrow when I cover the federal guideline statistics like I do every Wednesday. But for sure, we've been seeing some positive test rates in the right direction. Don't know how many of these tests came from the new testing site at Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, but lots of fanfare yesterday showing that that one was open. New hospitalization reports were back up just like we expect on a Tuesday. They were actually a little bit higher than what we saw last week, plus 51 for the new hospitalization reports over last Tuesday, about the same as we had last Wednesday. It does come in higher than the 7-day average, which is 229. So this is, again, I've talked about it before, but it bears repeating because I know not everybody watches every one of my videos. This is the most manual statistic we have, the new hospitalizations and the deaths. So this is why we see such a fluctuation versus a test reporting or a case reporting, which is all automated, and you see those curves are a little smoother. So that is why we see such big spikes from day to day, is because it's when the paperwork gets done, when the data gets input, and how people are handling that data. From a active hospitalization bed perspective, we're seeing a nice little flat line here over the last couple of days. We were up 7 for the day, which, given the swings we had previously, is certainly not a big deal at all, and we will take that 7. Looking at the, let's go into the CCU data. Looking at that, we added some regions back into the 90% group. Athens region, that's region E, now only has 6 beds left. And just looking at my list to make sure I don't misstate myself here. Columbus region, that is region I, is back above 90%. They only have 2 beds available. And then the shoreline area has 27 beds available that put them just over 90%. Now, they have been adding beds, but they've also been adding cases in region J. So, is there more flexibility? Hard to say, but they're just right at that 90% line right now. Want to talk a little bit about CCU as it relates to schools. So let's look at region N, which is the North Metro Kennesaw area. And I'm going to try and do this on the fly to zoom this chart in a little bit. Region N includes Cobb County, Paulding County, and Cherokee County. Why is that important? Because Region N is at 92%, and a lot of the school stuff we are seeing is coming out of Cherokee County and Canton. Now, it's also important to say this is the district that probably could overflow most easily to other Metro Atlanta hospitals, and there is capacity in Metro Atlanta, about 200 beds. However, just in general, something that I'm going to keep watching out for is what's the dynamics of a region that is already running hot and has been running hot for at least weeks that we've been watching this on CCU beds, now getting pressure from school opening and seeing what's going to happen there. So I think that's something we want to watch for as we go along. So keep that one in the back of your head. Let's look at the school list. This is hard to read, and I'm not even going to try to explain it. If you want to look at it, go to Reddit. There's a link, and you can look at the whole spreadsheet. There are 80 reports since I started this last Wednesday or Thursday. So we have gotten quite a few reports. The latest ones, you'll see the ones in gold there. Right now, this is all sorted by county first, and then school name, and then date of report. So you'll see there's a lot of Cherokee. I added a lot in Houston County today. There are several, quite a few reports down there. Hard to get the numbers from the Houston County report, so a lot of them say 1, but I would anticipate that some of these are really higher. So something to watch out there. But the big one today was Etowah High School in Cherokee County. They have 11 new cases and 270 new quarantines. That's on top of what they reported last week. So they made the announcement earlier today that they're going to stop in-person learning at the end of the day today. And they will go all virtual until August 31st, about 3 weeks from now. So 7 days open, and now almost 3 weeks going virtual. A very interesting turn as we see that go. It will be interesting to see what other schools take that on as things go on. We know that North Paulding closed for 2 days. Now Etowah is going to virtual for almost 3 weeks. Lots of stuff going on in the schools. It's hard to keep up with. I don't know for how long I'm going to be able to do that, especially as bigger school systems come into play, but we'll keep it going for a few more days anyway. Okay, want to get into a couple of other stats before I go. I posted this yesterday for those of you who watch the Reddit or my Facebook. Wanted to just kind of show the progression in how fast things are growing and how fast we've gone. So each of these is a total. So if you look at between March 21st and March 24th, on March 24th, we passed 500 total cases, and it took us 36 days to get there. On March 24th, we added 500 more cases to pass 1,000. April 2nd, we added 4,000 more cases to pass 5,000, and so on. Some people have looked at this and said, well, if we went from 100,000 to 200,000 in 28 days, basically a month, does that mean we're going to be at 400,000 in a month? I don't think so, but we are definitely on pace to pass 300,000 before the end of this month. We are growing at 3,300 to 3,500 cases a day, and at that rate, we're going to keep piling on and getting to 300,000 cases pretty darn quickly, even without the help of all the school cases that are now starting to pop up. So this is an interesting stat, and I will keep this up over time as we go forward. So when I posted that yesterday, somebody jumped in and said, that's interesting, appreciate the case information. Could you do the same thing for death information? So I posted this one just earlier this afternoon. Most people may not have had a chance to consume it. March 12th was the date of the first death reported in Georgia. The Georgia state website doesn't report any deaths until later than that, I think the 23rd, but that was based on a public newspaper report of a COVID-19 death, so that's where I got that date. We got to 50 deaths in 16 days. We got to 500 deaths by April 14th, 1,000 deaths by April 28th, so just 14 days to double there. And now we, as of today, 4,351 total deaths, averaging 28.4 deaths a day total. March 12th to today, that 153 days. Take 4,351 divided by 153, comes out to 28.4 and change. So that's just your average run rate. If you factor in today, we are now at 61 deaths a day over the last 7 days. That I've equivalated that to hours and minutes and those kind of things previously. So if we look at the total life cycle of COVID between March 12th and now, we were at about 1 death an hour. Over the last week, we have been running at a death every 24 minutes. So almost 3 times the pace of deaths that we have been seeing over the last week. And it's been high. It's been in the 50s. But today, with that really big spike of 122 or 137, depending on which way you want to count it, that put us over 60 a day average. So it's a really troubling statistic. I really don't feel like we're getting a handle on it. Hopefully, we will see more activities related to this number breaking the 100 barrier. Maybe that'll shock some people into talking more about it and looking into more things, or just wearing a mask. But we will have to see how things go over the next couple of days. But I will keep this updated as well. At 60 deaths a day, we are likely... Yeah, we're likely to pass. I was just doing the math in my head. We're likely to pass 5,000 deaths before the end of the month as well. In fact, the math says, the easy math says 10 days for 600. So it's the 11th now, the 22nd, the 23rd, somewhere in there. If we keep up at this pace, we will pass 5,000 deaths this month. And we just passed 4,000 deaths this month. So we're not talking about 25 days to increase 1,000 now. We're probably talking about 20 days, 15 days, depending on if this rate keeps up or not. So sad news there. Hopefully we see some more things happen as we go along. All right, last thing I want to cover on Tuesdays. I've set aside time to cover this. I want to thank a couple of people who were very generous to me last week, giving me tips. I really appreciate it. I don't have their permission to say their names, so I'll just say thank you, and they know who they are. I'm keeping these videos in church for free. I do this mostly because I was curious and concerned about it, and I like to see the daily progression that's going on. So, it's not something that is a profit making venture for me, but the folks on Reddit, the folks on Facebook have been really generous to say, hey, I appreciate this. I use it at my work, or I use it to talk to my family about these things. So if you do feel like, hey, Jim, I want to buy you a beer, I want to, help you with your next trip or whatever, and you want to leave a tip, n4bfr.com/n4bfr-tip-jar. We'll get you there. And I thank you very much in advance if you choose to do that. I really appreciate that. All right, as I said, tomorrow is the weekly update of how we're doing against the White House numbers. We'll keep watching the school data. We'll keep watching what's going on up in Region N for the hospitalization, and whatever interesting things come along. I pushed the wrong button too fast, so I'm not going to go back and redo this whole 16 minutes because I pushed the wrong button too fast. That's it. Have a great day. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to wear your damn mask. And I'll see you tomorrow.